Oh, and guess what? No gender lock. Now, isn't that crazy? In my opinion, will Chrono Odyssey redefine what we expect from MMOs, or is this going to be just another overhyped game? Well, time will tell, but it does seem that this game is going to try to push some boundaries and give players a beautiful new world and some new interesting mechanics for a MMO, right? You know, as gamers, we've all been burned before by those flashy game trailers and broken promises, and this game can very well, be that. And I think it's important that I do mention that first, right? We really have no idea what this game will actually be once it's released, but we can at least take a look at what we have currently. And I'm mentioning this because if you remember when Throne and Liberty released its gameplay trailers a while ago, it looked really good, right? But when you actually saw how the game really was and how the combat really was, in my opinion, it was definitely somewhat misleading. But hey, at least at this moment, this game has me excited. So for those of you looking for the next potential big MMO, this game might just be your answer. So let's dive deep into why Chrono Odyssey should be on your radar and why you should be hyped for this game. So Chrono Odyssey is being developed by Npixel. Now, I don't really know who Npixel is. It seems like the main game that they developed that was popular was Grand Saga, which is a mobile MMO. And the publisher, which was just recently announced, which is going to be Kakao Games, which is known for publishing a variety of games such as my main game, Black Desert Online, which is kind of controversial due to the whole pay to win aspect. And this company does not really have the best track record with this and doesn't really do a good job of interacting with the community. So yeah, we don't really have no idea on their, business model, but this game was originally announced back in 2020, and this game has been in the works for several years, right? And it's been driven by over a team of 100 developers, which is definitely a good amount. And they they promised that this was not going to be just another MMORPG, but a groundbreaking experience with stunning visuals and innovative gameplay mechanics and a richly detailed world, which I know every single MMORPG developer says that, which is very comical. I will say though that I'm also, somewhat skeptical about the developers having only experience with a mobile MMO, and I really, really, really hope that these elements are not implemented in this game, because let's be honest, it probably will not survive the West. Okay, so this game is just breathtakingly gorgeous, and hopefully when we get our hands on this game and we actually play it, the graphics will just only further, enhance the immersion and gameplay. Now, this game is powered by Unreal Engine 5, which is probably the best in the market right now, and you can definitely tell by some of the trailers and images that we've seen of this game. The environmental detail is just stunning, right? From the way the light filters through the trees in a dense forest to the lifelike motion of grass, blowing in the wind. Now, in my opinion, graphics is extremely important, especially in 2024, right? Which I think in my opinion, Black Desert Online, hands down, takes the trophy for the best graphics for an MMO, which is kind of crazy since BDO has been around since 2015. Now, I haven't played Throne and Liberty, but just seeing some of the gameplay, those graphics do also look pretty good as well, which I think the engine that Throne and Liberty is using is Unreal Engine 4. So yeah, I'm sure Unreal Engine 5 is just going to be even better. But at least as of right now, what we have seen with Chrono Odyssey, I definitely think that this game can take the graphics trophy at some point. So visuals are just one part of the equation, right? What really has me intrigued are the innovative gameplay mechanics that they mentioned, particularly the time manipulation feature, right? So you don't just fight your enemies, you're able to control the very flow of time itself. So picture this, right? You're in the heat of battle, you're outnumbered, you're outmatched, mobs are just everywhere. It's just completely insane, right? But suddenly you can freeze time, you can reposition yourself and launch a counterattack. Or maybe you can rewind time to avoid a mistake, giving yourself another shot for success. You know, even in the trailer, right, it showed the character dropping off the ledge to kill the enemies, and then we're able to rewind time to get back on the ledge. So it doesn't seem like, you know, this will be a gimmick, but more of a potential, you know, game changer that seems to add another layer of strategy to every encounter. Now, it will be interesting to see how they incorporate this type of element or feature with like brute play with PvE or definitely with PvP. But in general, it's very intriguing and it's a different aspect for a MMO. And I look forward to gaining some more information or some more insight on this specific mechanic moving forward. So, classes. So, this game offers 6 distinct classes that we currently know of, which is Swordsman, which has a sword and shield and then a great sword. Ranger, which has a bow and reaper. Sorcerer, which has a staff and a spell book. Paladin, which has a mace slash shield and then a spear. Berserker, which has 2 axes and then a great axe. And then finally, the Assassin, which has dual daggers and a rifle, which is kind of an interesting combination. But I'm sure each class will come with its own kind of unique abilities and playstyles. So at least this will allow you to tailor your character to your preferred combat style, right? And I'm sure that they have future classes in mind that they will eventually release. I mean, look at BDO, right? There are so many newer classes that have been released over the years since the game's launch. And and guess what? No gender lock. Now, isn't that crazy? In my opinion, gender lock is just stupid, and honestly, like, why restrict your players to a gender? Like, you know, for me being a male, I want my character to be a male because that allows me to be fully immersed into the game. I could talk your head off about this topic, but anyway, thank you, Chrono Odyssey, for allowing different genders for a specific class. Now, combat looks like it's action-based, so you'll be able to dodge, block. Looks like you can aim your attacks like with the bow. It looks like you may be able to switch between multiple weapons that I mentioned earlier with the classes, which you can see some of that with the gameplay trailers. It seems like this game's combat will be more along the lines of like New World's combat or very like Dark Souls-esque. So we will have to wait and see. For me, one of the most important aspects is the combat. And of course, I've been spoiled by BDO's combat over the years. But I mean, really any type of action combat, I'm definitely down for, as long as it's not strictly tab target. Also, they did release some information about the combat, about the satisfaction of the combat. They did a small scale test in which the individuals who tested the game stated that 60% were satisfied and 10% were very satisfied. So about 70% seemed to like the combat, while the 30% were more kind of in that neutral area, or just didn't like it. And it seemed that for the most part, the weapons were unique. So I guess that's a good sign, right? But we probably should take some of those numbers with caution because it is the developers releasing that information. So probably some bias there. Now let's talk about the world of Chrono Odyssey. So we don't know too much, but they expressed that it would be an unrestricted journey, through its open world, allowing you to explore the variety of terrains without loading screens, featuring numerous biomes such as grasslands, snowlands, and swamps. And I'm sure there are going to be many more. And I'm sure each biome will probably provide unique challenges and resources, making the exploration more rewarding. And then it looks like we'll have different life skills such as harvesting, logging, skinning, and just allowing you to gather essential resources, which I'm sure will be used to craft, valuable equipment and consumables. So the exact release date is kind of still up in the air. However, per Kakal's earnings report, we can see here that they are expecting to release the game Q3 of 2025. Of course, this game has gotten delayed a few times already, so hopefully it doesn't get pushed any further, and maybe they'll be able to release it even sooner as long as the betas and everything else goes well, which they already had like 70 people outside of the company, like content creators, test this game back a few months ago, and it seemed like there was a positive response to it. So hopefully we'll get some more positive news as we approach 2025, which is just crazy to even think it's almost 2025. Like, where does the time even go? But anyway, hopefully this should give the developers enough time to polish the game and, fix any huge game-breaking bugs. So the developers mentioned that Chrono Odyssey will be available on multiple platforms, including PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. So this will be nice, especially for consoles, since there really is not that many MMOs out for consoles. And just in general will allow a broader audience to access and enjoy the game, regardless of the preferred gaming system. So as a big time MMO fan, I can't help but be excited for Chrono Odyssey, right? The combination of stunning visuals with a beautiful world, interesting, innovative time mechanics, and an action combat system, really makes it a game to watch out for here in the next year. But beyond the hype, right? What excites me the most is the potential, right? The potential for a new MMO that may actually satisfy my combat needs, because I'll be honest, it's hard for me to play a tab target MMO after BDO's combat. But it's not also just about the combat, but the developers also claim that Chrono Odyssey is going to have a variety of content, such as, raids, dungeons, and PvP. Now look, all of this hype could potentially change, especially once we see the actual gameplay with the actual UI and the actual mechanics of this game. But until then, let me just have my moment. I truly want to think just deep down inside that this will be the MMO that changes the landscape, that will have everything that I desire, such as a vast open world, engaging action combat, life skills, actual fun PvE content like the raids and the dungeons, and maybe a few grinding areas like BDO, because I'm crazy and I enjoy that as well. And then having fun PvP content, and just a game that will give some competition to other MMOs to just be better, So until we see more about this game that may change my opinion, I will continue to be excited for this game. I will continue to cover this game. So make sure to subscribe if you want more news on this game. But let me know down in the comments on, what you think so far of this game, and are you excited for it? And yeah, if you liked the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, and I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
just you and I.